Hey everyone, welcome to the Royce Reports. I'm your host Royce, and on this channel we talk a lot of Xbox related topics, but I do dabble in other gaming related news and reviews. So if you think you might be interested in that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And today I kind of wanted to talk about 10 upcoming Xbox exclusives that I am most excited about. And I kind of just want to do this video because I know that the past couple of weeks right now have been kind of shitty for Xbox fans, just because we haven't really got a whole lot of news going on. And I kind of just want to look to the future and kind of see what I'm most excited about. And maybe some of you guys will also share that. So with that, let's talk about it. All right. So as you already know, like I said earlier, this is a list of games that I'm most excited about. Now, not necessarily what I think you guys should be most excited about, but if you do have a list of games that you're most excited about from games that have been announced or are in the works, let me know in the comment section below. I'm actually pretty interested to hear that from you guys and see where our list match. And the way I have it ordered is the least excited to the most excited. So let's start this conversation. And just a little forewarning, there's a couple of studios that I'm omitting from this just because we haven't really had a lot of news about them. Something like Double Fine, for example, they just released Psychonauts 2 a year ago, so they're not really in the conversation, as well as some of the other studios that Xbox currently has. So if you think I'm wrong, please feel free to let me know in the comments how wrong I really am. So let's just get into this. All right, number 10, Perfect Dark. Now it's very low on this list. I am still excited about it just because of the fact that it's coming from a studio that was built from the ground up, and they have been tasked with building out this world and rebooting this character and having Joanna Dark come back, which is, it's cool, but I wish they would have done it with something else. I wish they would have either built a brand new IP or had a bigger IP that people were kind of wanting to come back, return, like something like Conquer or Banjo and Kazooie, but that's not the case. And what also sours this release of this game is the controversy surrounding the studio and all the people that were leaving due to creative differences, and that is never a good sign. And so it's really hard for me to be excited for Perfect Dark because, one, it's an IP that I've never really enjoyed that much. I always thought that Perfect Dark was just a kind of a knockoff of GoldenEye, and GoldenEye is awesome, and the Perfect Dark game that originally came out on N64 is good, but that's not what people are clamoring to Xbox for. And maybe they could turn that around. Maybe they could shift that character and make that character a model for Xbox, mascot for Xbox, but I'm not really too sure about that. There's also a lot of controversy around them getting Crystal Dynamics to come over and build that game with them, and that also caused a lot of people to leave because they wanted to maintain themselves as being a small studio. So there's a lot going on, and I wish that they would have had those creative minds that were from across all those different projects that we all know and love as gamers, and would have created something special and created a brand new IP that could have been something that we were all looking forward to. But now we're kind of stuck with this. So that's why Perfect Dark is the lowest one on this list. But hey, it's on the list though. There's some games that didn't make it. All right, number 9. Project Cobalt from inXile. So Project Cobalt is rumored to be a steampunk first-person RPG from the mind of Brian Fargo, who is one of the original creators of Fallout. And he went and he works on inXile, and they've created the Wasteland series. And I am super excited about this, and I know that it's kind of lower on the list, and there's other projects that I'm more excited about, of course, but the prospect of the guy who created the mind of Fallout creating a brand new IP from a studio that is actually really, really talented NXile has done great work when it comes down to the Wasteland series. And I've only played Wasteland 3, and I only played it for about 4 to 5 hours. But I know you can't really get a good grasp of a game with that much time. But the writing in that game was phenomenal. And the jokes, the way the choices were. And I've read a lot and looked into a lot of what Wasteland is. And they have a lot of choice, a lot of consequences, and a lot of great writing. And that's what's key to a great RPG, in my opinion, is obviously the role-playing aspect to it, but also the writing. What keeps us coming back, what keeps us hooked, and the amount of choice that the studio is known for can actually be very important to this potential RPG that they're creating. And the fact that it's in a Victorian style steampunk setting is very unique, because we don't have a lot of games that are kind of like that. The only one I could really think of is BioShock Infinite. But this looks really, really like it has a lot of potential. And I know we haven't really gotten any screenshots or any sort of trailers or anything, but if the rumors are true, this is really cool. And even if they aren't, just having someone like Brian Fargo on your team and them being able to finally create a AAA RPG that they've been working to create ever since they became independent, and now that they've been acquired by Xbox, they can now actually fulfill that dream of theirs. So I'm really looking forward to that. Number 8 is Project Midnight. Now, Project Midnight is coming from the team over at Compulsion Games. So this team is known for We Happy Few as well as Contrast. And with We Happy Few, I like the concept of it. I actually love the concept of We Happy Few. And leading up to that game's release, I was all on board. I thought it looked like a great BioShock-esque survival game. And what we got was not that. But the world building in itself was awesome. The idea of it was awesome. If they never would have resorted to procedural generation of the world, I think if it would have been more handcrafted, it would have been a lot better. And I understand the restrictions to it because they were a small studio and they were kind of stuck making AA games. But that world in itself, what they're able to create, and it was awesome. And if they had the budget to back any of that, I think they would have really nailed it. But sadly, they didn't. But now they do. They're acquired by Xbox. So maybe Xbox saw potential in them. And I hope that they can actually prove themselves. And with Project Midnight, it's supposed to be supposedly rumored to be set in a sort of Louisiana and have some sort of weird magical sense to it. And that seems really, really unique and really cool. And I hope that they create something that is truly different and shows us their talent, because the world building is there. We're just missing out on the story and we're missing out on the gameplay. And Contrast was okay at best. But maybe they can prove themselves. And I hope that because Xbox acquired them, they could really show themselves as a true contender for one of the best studios. So number 7 is Redfall. Redfall is number 7. Now, we've seen a lot of Redfall already, and I am still not really sold on it. I like the idea of jumping in with a couple of friends. I also like the idea of being able to play solo and that changing your experience. But at the same time, I am very wary of Arcane because I was not a fan of Deathloop. I have not played anything other than Dishonored, but I haven't also received anything other than the same sort of gameplay style, the same sort of technique, and I kind of want them to just do something different. Now, if this game is something like Borderlands, then I am sold. But from all the trailers that we've seen, I have still yet to be completely sold on it. It doesn't have that it factor. And that's the bad thing about Arcane, though, is that Arcane games are very hard to sell just because of the way they look, the way they show them off. Doesn't really capture them in the best light. And the true outcome of what they can potentially do comes down to you actually picking up a controller and actually testing out the game for yourself. And so I'm obviously gonna be picking this up with Game Pass. But yeah, hopefully they can nail it and hit it out of the park with it. Number 6 is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is the game that Machine Games is working on next, and I find that to be very odd. Like, they're typically known for their first-person shooters, and with Wolfenstein, and they've really perfected that game. I feel like Wolfenstein is really fun. It's really gritty. It is one of the best feeling shooters that I've ever played. And I think this team is very talented. I don't think that they get enough credit for the work that they've done. I feel like they get overshadowed by id quite a bit. And I mean, obviously, because id is one of the greatest developers out there. But Machine Games is a very, very strong studio. And I'm excited to see if this is going to be the moment where they kind of can truly shine and have their Horizon Forbidden West moment. The Spider-Man moment from Insomniac, the out-of-box norm for them, right? Like what Guerrilla Games did with Killzone, and they shifted from that first-person shooter over to that third-person narrative adventure that is Horizon. And now everyone loves the Horizon series. Everyone thinks that the Guerrilla guys over at Guerrilla Games are really great developers. And I want that same energy, but for Machine Games, because Machine Games, I feel like, has that potential to really shine if they get out of their wheelhouse. But the thing is that they're also really good at what they do with that first-person shooter. But Indiana Jones, I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan, but I do like the character. I have played all of the games. I grew up watching Indiana Jones, so I'm kind of excited to see another story being told of Indiana Jones and to have that kind of adventure game that Xbox isn't really known for. I heard that this could potentially still be a first-person shooter, or maybe a mixture of both third-person action adventure with first-person. Who really knows? But Todd Howard is actually overseeing this project, and this has been something that he's been dreaming about for a really long time, and this is sort of like his dream project. And that's really awesome to hear that he has his hand in it. And with the work that Machine Games is doing, I feel like this game could be a huge win for Xbox and a huge win for Machine Games to show like, hey, you know what? Like, we're not the little guy. You should be looking at us and respecting them for what they do. They're awesome. So I'm really excited for that, just because, not because of Indiana Jones, but because of Todd Howard and because of Machine Games. So number 5 is the Coalition. So the Coalition that doesn't actually have a game per se that we know about. We've heard rumors that they're not moving on to Gears 6 because they want to work on a brand new IP that's a smaller game to help them really understand Unreal Engine 5 a lot more. So no one really knows what they're working on. There was a rumor for a bit that they were working on the Mandalorian game, and they're using their expertise on Gears of War to help them with that game. But that has been debunked. But that thought has never left my head, because I think the Coalition would make a badass Mandalorian. I think that they are very knowledgeable on how Unreal Engine works, and that they can really make great use of the power behind the Xbox Series X and do great with the Unreal Engine. And what's crazy about the Coalition is I feel like they're also another underdog. They're one of the people that are carrying the Xbox during the Xbox One generation. And not only that, but they're so good at Unreal Engine that even Epic Games, the creators of Unreal Engine, go to them for specific things because they know they would know the answer because of how knowledgeable they are when it comes down to the engine. And they've also helped out with the Matrix Unreal demo that everyone was talking about when it first hit. And they've also helped other studios that Xbox even owns with developing on Unreal Engine because they're wizards at this thing. Also, on top of that, they also made the Unreal Engine demo for Unreal Engine 5 for Epic Games. So these guys know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes down to Unreal Engine. And so I am super excited to see what their next project is, because Gears of War is a beautiful looking franchise. Despite what you might think of the new series with Gears of War 4 and 5, I really do like the way those games look. And they are just masters at that craft. And so I'm super excited to see what they have to offer next. And I hope it is a new IP, but if it isn't, I do hope that it is the Mandalorian game, because that would be perfect. That's just a perfect combination right there. So that brings me to number 4, which is Hellblade 2. Hellblade is coming from Ninja Theory, and Ninja Theory is known for Hellblade, DMC, and a little game called Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Now, a lot of people slept on Enslaved Odyssey to the West. I really recommend that game. That game was what The Last of Us and Horizon are combined, and it came out before those two games, and it's a really fun game, and it's really story and intensive. So I really like that they spent a lot of time on story on that one. And if you played the first Hellblade, you know these guys are good at creating atmosphere. And I am super excited to see what Hellblade 2 has to offer, because of what we've seen with the gameplay trailer. And yes, I know that's gameplay. That's what they said, that is gameplay, which is really crazy to think about, the work that they were able to achieve and the scale that they have now gone to. Look at what Hellblade is and the first one, and it's sort of like a enclosed story about one person's psyche as they're going insane and trying to find the resting place of their loved one. And you go and see Hellblade 2, and it's these huge monsters crawling through a freaking cave. It looks crazy, and all of that was captured in engine. So we'll see what that turns out to be. We've been waiting on this game for a while. I feel like we've seen a lot of Hellblade now, and now I just want this game to be out because I want to get my hands on it. And at the same time, I also want them to move on to something brand new. They do have that Project Mara, which is supposed to be coming out, which is supposed to take place in a apartment, and it's supposed to be a horror film or a horror game. And I've heard a lot of crazy things about that as well. So these guys are very talented, and they like to explore different avenues. And I think that makes them very unique. But I do hope that they could go back to a more linear storytelling element like they did with Enslaved Odyssey to the West. I think that game is pretty awesome. So I kind of hope that they would kind of hop back over to that at some point. Number 3. So number 3 is, you're probably going to hate me, but Starfield as my number 3. I know. Starfield is my number 3. And the reason why it's my number 3, it would have been higher if it wasn't for that gameplay that they shown back last year at Xbox's event. And that gameplay, I know gameplay is designed to entice you and want you to get that game in your hands right now. But when I saw it, I saw that it was not ready. It didn't look ready to me. I felt like there was still a lot of basic things missing. I don't know if this game's supposed to be rated M. I don't know if they're going to go for a gory type game, but there's no blood. The weapon seemed the clunky. The way you walk and slide all seemed very clunky. And the AI in the game just kind of, I don't know if they dumbed it down just to have like a more cinematic approach to that little mission structure. But there's guys were just running at you, and you were just unloading into them, and it's just as if they didn't care. They weren't being like they were getting shot, and they just weren't acknowledging the fact that they were getting shot, or they weren't taking cover. It was just very odd to me, and I don't know if that's the way it is designed to be, or if they dumbed down the AI just for that section to show it off, or what it may have been. But a lot of those aspects are what I look forward to in these games. But it didn't catch me. And I'm still excited for it. Obviously, it's my number 3, but the reason why I'm excited for it is because of the name Bethesda and that's attached to it. That is the only reason I'm actually excited about this game. Because if it was any other company, I would immediately write it off. But because it's Bethesda and because of what the work they've done on things like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, it's truly gotten me excited to see them actually go and do something that's not those two IP, to create a brand new IP and something that Todd wanted to do for years and years and years, but just couldn't find the time because of the constant flux between Elder Scrolls and Fallout. That now was the perfect time. Now it had to be done. So hopefully this gives them inspiration and hopefully they're not tired from that Elder Scrolls Fallout grind. Maybe this will give them a nice breath of fresh air to allow them to really blow everybody away with this. But I need to see more. I need to see more. And I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for that, but just my opinion that Starfield is not ready. And I know that they delayed it, and I'm glad they did. And I'm just hopeful that that delay fixes some of the things that I was concerned about. Number 2 is Avowed with Obsidian. Obsidian is a team that continues to surprise me. These guys, every time I play one of their games, I honestly, I'm going to say it, I have doubts every single time I go into an Obsidian. I don't know what it is about it, but I am always steered clear after I play it. And this goes back to as far as New Vegas, with Fallout New Vegas. When Fallout New Vegas first came out, I'm like, there is no way this game is going to be good when it's coming out a year and some change after Fallout 3. There's just no way. And I thought it was going to be like, I thought it was just a glorified DLC. I was like, oh man, this is not going to be good. And I played it, and now it's my favorite Fallout game. Same goes with Grounded this year. Grounded is one of my favorite games of the year. It really blew me away. Me and my friend spent hours and hours in that game just exploring and building and killing bugs and trying to craft things and survive. It was, I didn't expect that from a survival game because I don't like survival games. And Obsidian just did a great job with that. And I've heard nothing but great things about Pentiment. I haven't tried it yet, and honestly, that's a game that I'm not even looking forward to playing. But here it is on the background of my Xbox. Like, this thing is, I've heard nothing but great things, and Obsidian continues to surprise me. And when they showed off Avowed, I was like, finally something to kind of satiate the craving of Elder Scrolls, and it's coming from Obsidian, and that's awesome. And this team is just, I don't know how they do it. They are just knocking these games out just one after the other. They did Outer Worlds, they did Grounded, they did Pentiment, they're doing Avowed, and now they're doing Outer Worlds 2. Like, holy shit. Give them some breathing room for Fallout. I want them to make Fallout. And that's another reason why they're so high on the list, is because I want Avowed to come out so that way they now have time to make another Fallout New Vegas, or make a Fallout successor like New Vegas in a different town or whatever it may be. But these guys are awesome. They are probably the best team at Xbox. And I just want them to succeed and do greatness. And that's all they ever do is greatness. So that's why Avowed is my number 2. All right, so the final one, number 1. All right, so again, I know that a lot of people are probably going to be upset with me, but I have to let everyone know that it is Fable. Fable is my number 1. And I know you're thinking, oh wow, why Fable? Fable has nothing but mediocre games. That's not true. Not true. Nope. No. No. Wait. No, that's not true. Fable is one of my favorite franchises ever. I love the Fable series. My favorite one is actually not the first one. Yep. There you go. I said it. It's not the first one. It's definitely not the third one. But Fable 2 is one of my favorite games ever made. That I used to play this game so much when it came out. And I even go back to it at least once a year just to hop in and just play it, create a new character, go and fuck shit up in towns or whatever. I just love Fable. What's great about Fable is something that a lot of games have actually steered away from, which is this good and evil, and having those routes that you take that are that defined. And a lot of people don't make games like that anymore. They went away from that. Like even Fallout no longer has a karma system, which is kind of shitty. Like I like knowing I'm doing good things. I like knowing I'm doing evil things. Like this helps me play the game and choose the things that I want to choose from and be the way I want to be. And I know that in real life, things are obviously morally gray. And that's how games try to reflect themselves now. But I like to play these games to feel a certain way, and having a halo over my head or having horns over my head makes me happy. And that's why Fable is my number one. It really makes me feel like I am playing a video game and I am having fun being good. I'm having fun being bad. This is what makes me excited. Like that's what I hope that Playground Games continues to do with the Fable franchise. That is what Fable is really known for doing. You see it all the way back even in the first Fable. You could choose to be good or evil. And so I hope that is still mimicked in the Fable game by Playground Games. But on top of that, I want to talk about Playground Games. Playground Games is the racing studio underneath Microsoft. There's Turn 10 and there's Playground Games. Turn 10 does Forza Motorsport, and then Playground Games does Forza Horizon. And honestly, if you ask me, I like Forza Horizon a lot more than Forza Motorsport. I am not a racing guy, so obviously my interests are going to be more arcadey type racing games. And when it comes down to racing games, Forza Horizon is my favorite racing series. It is so awesome. The amount of shit you're able to do in that game, the amount of exploration, the amount of crazy stunts and cool cars, and how gorgeous it looks. And if they can take the look of Forza and put it in Fable, I think it will blow everybody away. I think everyone will fall in love with Fable. And if they're able to do what the original idea of Fable was, because this is a reboot, they could do whatever they want. They can really show people what the Fable franchise is. And if they do that with great voice acting, with top-notch music and score, because Fable's music is so good. It is so good. If they could just, oh my gosh, if they can do it, if they could pull this off, I would be so through the roof about it. They are a top-notch studio, and I mentioned earlier how you have a studio like id and you have a studio like Machine Games that their wheelhouse is first-person shooters, and to see them venture outside of that would be really interesting, because it will have them operate outside their normal realms and make them think different and approach things differently, and that could lead to greatness. And the same thing could be said about Playground Games, because they are known for their Horizon series, and I feel like if they're able to approach a game series and do something different and make them think a different way, I think it could be a really great experience for everybody. And that's why Fable and Playground Games are my number one most anticipated Xbox exclusive. So what do you guys think? Is my list far off from your guys's? Please make lists. I really want to see you guys and see what your opinions are. I want to see what your guys' top 10s are. And if top 10 is too much, top 5, whatever. I just want to see what your most anticipated Xbox games are. in the comment section below. Thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. And remember, have a very great Christmas, happy holidays, and take it easy.